Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our model. We've made some few changes in it. We've included some death rates and birth rates. Yeah, so, and we made some changes on the
Just
like
help the other, just help others who are not here from the beginning. What is the question that we are modeling?
Oh, okay. Okay, so our research question is, what is the effect of temperature on dengue fever transmission in Singapore from 2015 to 2019? And what is the effect of rainfall on dengue fever transmission in Singapore from 2015 to 2019? Our objectives are to model the effect of temperature and rainfall on dengue fever transmission in Singapore from 2015 to 2019. And the data we used, we got temperature data and rainfall data. And then we got the prevalence of dengue fever in Singapore from 2015 to 2019. So that is our model. We used an SIRS model. And so at the start, we have the birth rate and the susceptible population. So we used beta as the rate of infection, and then time was the susceptible and the infected, and then I is for the infected compartment, and then we used gamma as our rate of recovery, and then we have gamma R as the rate of death among the people who recover, and then we have mu I as the rate of death among the infected due to natural causes, and then mu DE is the rate of death due to dengue fever among those that are infected, and then mu S is the rate of death in the susceptible population due to natural causes. Yes, so we've also made some changes in our model equations. Previously, we had beta S here, but we've included an I basing on the sessions we had yesterday. So we have ES minus beta SI plus theta R, which is here, minus mu S. And then for the IDT, we have beta SI minus gamma I minus mu I minus mu DE. And then for the RDT, we have gamma I minus this theta R minus mu R. And then we are looking at rainfall and temperature. So our beta is, in terms of rainfall, we have beta naught plus B2RF, and for temperature, we have beta naught plus B1T. I request my other group members, okay, beta naught, rate of infection, we consider it as 0.2. Number of days with infection, we consider it as 7. Rate of recovery, we consider it as 1/7, which is 0.14. Days with immunity after recovery, considered it as 90. And theta, the rate of becoming susceptible again after recovery, considered it as 1/90, which is 0.01. I request my other group members to go on with the model assumption.
Okay, so the model assumption, the rate of the infection is dependent on the variation of the temperature and the rainfall. And the recovery time is 7 days. The number of immune days is 90 days. Rainfall and temperature affect the infection rate. After the 90 days of recovery, the people are expected to become susceptible again. The death rate due to the natural causes is considered to be constant across all compartments, assumes a homogeneous population. Okay, next slide.
Okay. So I request Victoria to explain our outputs.
So in this slide, we have how temperature affected the transmission of dengue fever. We see that there were several variations in the climate that resulted in cyclic temperature variations. And similarly, the estimated cases of dengue fever varied slightly in a cyclic manner, whereby the estimated dengue fever cases increased by warming climates and reduced during cooler climates. And these results can be compared to a study done by Bai et al. In 2013. Then how the rainfall affected the transmission of dengue fever. The rate of transmission of the dengue directly correlated with the rainfall patterns over time. An increase in the prevalence of dengue fever can be observed in periods where there was an increase in the rate of precipitation or rainfall. And these results can also be compared to the study done by Bai et al.
So our recommendations were there is need for strong vector and epidemiological surveillance to enable targeted vector control interventions, and seasonal interventions should target the interruption of mosquito breeding cycles. Yeah, that's it from my group.
Yeah, so thank you so much, group dengue fever, for again insights, but also inputs as well. I want to request members to give you feedback. You go back to the model. You go back to the model. So are we modeling the transmission of dengue fever in humans alone? Did we forget about the contribution of the vector, which is the Aedes mosquito?
We had previously first considered the humans. Yeah, so maybe we can also plan to include the vectors too.
So on this model, what are we trying to say? We are trying, okay, the question we are trying to look at, the question we are answering is what is the contribution, what's the impact of climate change to the distribution or the spread of dengue fever in Singapore from this period to this period? And for us, we know that the variation in climate factors like temperature and rainfall, what they affect is for example, is the vegetation distribution or the vegetation cover, and the survive. Okay, and the vegetation cover defines or enables the survival of the vector. So we need to have assumptions on the vegetation cover or the survival of the vector in the vegetation as well. Maybe we are assuming that the temperature or the climate factors will favor the vegetation cover, which vegetation cover enables the habitation of the vector. We also know that the climate change will have an impact on temperature, which temperature also enables the survival, the breeding of this vector. So ideally, in our model, we must show the distribution of the vector or the spread of the vector or the vector distribution, which vector distribution will now interact with the human population. for us to see the dengue in humans. In other words, climate alone does not, maybe if it was an airborne disease, whereby we said during the cold conditions or during the warm conditions, the people will inhale the disease. The people will either, the people will inhale the disease. That's when we could go straight forward to model only in humans. But if we know that for us to see it in humans, we must have seen it in the vector population. And the humans are only getting it after interacting with the vector population. So the vector plays a very critical role in our model. Prof, does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay. Let's get more feedback from other members. Actually, for me, I strongly expected this model to immediately capture. That's why I was so insisting after the talk of yesterday and Monday. I've even sacrificed my 1 hour because I was actually targeting this dengue fever because it's close to malaria transmission. Yeah, this is the model I expected I expected a lot of change, because actually you realize that the output we got is more or less more close to what we had in July and August and September. And again, when we are comparing with previous studies, we may want to compare with the studies of 2023, 2022, and we may want to consider beyond Singapore alone, such that we see. And when you are explaining, when you're showing they compare with this one, did they agree? Did they disagree? Did they vary? What was the variation? In so doing, when you critique the variation our worker is adding on or is bring on table, we show why our work should be published, or we show why the government of Singapore should listen to our evidence we have just created as well. So that I felt also needs to be improved. And the other aspect which I felt we could bring out, you got the model limitations. Because you see, process, if you go to the recommendations, you first go to the recommendations. I want to show you something. Go to recommendations, that's to the last slide. That one there. Process, can you read the first one?
There's need for strong vector and epidemiological surveillance to enable targeted vector control interventions.
Then the second one?
Seasonal interventions should target the interruption of mosquito breeding cycles.
Given my earlier submission, can you make a comment on those recommendations?
These recommendations do not portray what we've done in our model. Our model is looking at humans.
Mm-hmm.
So these recommendations do not really work with what we've modeled.
Yeah, thank you so much. You are very honest. Because in our model, we have closed our eyes away from the vector. Yet, our recommendation is we are focusing on the vector. Again, I want to emphasize that, the assumptions we have in the model inputs, the model interpretation or recommendations should correlate, should be coherent. What you input in the model and what you assume within the model should be reflected in your conclusion or in your recommendations. Yeah, and you've picked it quite well. You've picked it quite well. Yeah, let's see if there is any feedback from any member on the group. Colleagues, any more feedback to group, to team dengue fever? Okay, there seems to be no feedback. So thank you so much, team dengue fever. You can stop sharing. Again, for me, this is very good. For me, like I told you earlier, we have 3 objectives. We had 3 objectives for this training. 3, number 1 is to fine tune the model we had developed. And I can see we are doing that very, very well. The second one is for us to be able to identify 5 resident fellows whom we are going to retain under IDEMU mathematical modeling unit, looking at the contribution, looking at the participation, looking at the interest and the willingness to dive into this area. The third one is to inspire you to dive into PhD opportunities. So the teaching today, okay, the teaching today and tomorrow will be so more into objective 3, which is helping you to dive into PhD opportunities and so forth. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Group Dengue Fever. I can see that we will have I will cause another meeting within the 2 weeks after tomorrow to 6th of November, just to touch base on how we are standing before come the writing retreat. Let's have another group, which is Noah's group. Jessica, is your group ready?
Yeah, we have something to present.
Yeah, you could. You go ahead and present. I think the team from the Noah's team is yet to be ready.
I think we're in the same group with Noah.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Please, you share the screen.
We are still looking at the dynamics of TB transmission in high burden settings, and we are assessing the impact of the DOTS intervention in Uganda. Our research question, what are the potential future trends and scenarios for TB transmission in Uganda, Uganda's high burden settings, and how does the DOTS intervention contribute to reducing the TB burden? Our objectives, we are looking at stimulating and comparing future trends of TB transmission in Uganda's high burden settings with and without the implementation of any interventions, and to also assess the potential impact of the DOTS intervention on TB transmission dynamics in Uganda. So we made a few changes in our assumptions. We are looking at homogeneous mixing, where our individuals have an equal chance of coming into contact with each other, and still our population is constant, where our death rate is equal to the birth rate from all the compartments. And then there are no external infections. Our TB disease is only transmitted within the population under study, and still relapse can occur after recovery. So there is no reinfection, there is only relapse. So we have complete reporting. We are assuming complete reporting where all the TB cases within our areas of study are accurately detected and reported. And our pathogen that is causing TB is not evolving. So it has constant characteristics throughout the study period, and there are no external pathogens. We are looking at our patients adhering to treatment, and there is no drug resistance. And our intervention is the directly observed short course treatment, which is the DOTS intervention. So we made a few adjustments still in the model that we had previously. And this time we are having the SCIR model. where we have the susceptible compartment, the exposed compartment. The infectious compartment has been divided into two, where we have our intervention of dots and no dots for the infected individuals. And then we have the recovery compartment. So the bats feed into the susceptible compartment from this exposed group and then from the infected group. Okay, the rate of change from the susceptible compartment to the exposed compartment is fed by all the compartments. So we have people moving out of the S due to the death rate from the S compartment. And then we have the exposed compartment where people are dying from the exposed compartment. And then from the exposed compartment, we are subdividing the rate of change from the rate of change from the E compartment to the infectious compartment into two, because we have two compartments in the S, in the I compartment. We have the infectious with no dots, and then infectious on dot treatment. And then we go to the recovery. So those on treatment and those without treatment are having a different recovery rate, but still those who recover can be susceptible again. And then the cycle continues. They can relapse and get they get the disease again. Yeah, so we've been refining our equations. Yeah, those are our equations for the model. We are still working on refining them. And yeah, we are still looking at early chassis, since most of the things that we had previously had changed. We are still looking at just so that we have parameters to feed into the model and we have model output. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Team Active TB. So let's get feedback from members. Colleagues, let's just unmute ourselves just to ensure that we are here. I just want to confirm how many are on the call. Just keep yourselves unmuted. Okay, so Winnie, can you make a comment on this on the team's progress so far?
Thank you. Unfortunately, I am quite noisy. I apologize for the background noise. Maybe give me a few minutes to look at it. Another member may go first. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Yehu, give feedback to the team. Yehu, please. Yehu, are you there?
Yes, Abel. Yes, I'm there. Just the network is a bit unstable. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. It's great work from the team. Actually, the model has really improved from what we last saw yesterday, because I think this element where they have indicated the exposure, splitting it into two, showing those exposed and they are showing exposed and they get infected, but without intervention, and this arm that shows exposed and they are getting infected, but with interventions, I think that is a plus. And really, I think it will be something to see how the output will really look. But I think that was a great idea, splitting the exposure into two arms in building this model.
Okay, thank you so much, Yehu. Muhammad, do you want to make a comment?
Yes, Abel. Thank you. The team has made a tremendous job. They shown us a very good job. Yeah, I think yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Muhammad. Brian, are you part of the team? Brian, you're part of the team. You're part of the team. Winnie, can you make?
I'm part of the team.
Yeah, you are part of the team. Winnie, can you make a comment? Okay, so I want to thank the team for the new adjustments. Jessica, do you think our title will remain the same? The title of which we have on our sheet right now, do you think on our, do you think to remain the same?
Yeah, maybe with a few adjustments.
I mean the title of this current, this is it still ISEIR model? No, go back. No, not the topic, not the topic of the title, but not the topic of the, not the topic, but the title of the, on our screen
model.
here. On the model,
The
on the
type of model. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. SEIR.
Will it remain the same?
oh, is it an SEIR model?
Yeah, yes, we
thought
need
it would
another
be the
compartment.
same.
Somebody is making a comment. I don't know who is making a comment. Do you see the arrow which is from the recoveries to the susceptible?
Yes. Okay.
Do we need to represent that in our model? I'm just asking.
Yes, I think it is important. Okay, we thought it is important because we have to include it still in the model equation to account for the relapse after recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what Win is. That's what Win is sending in the chat. So that's what that's how our model is going to look like after we have when you make the changes. You get it, eh? So we shall put S at the end.
Yeah.
Abel.
Yes, please.
What do you think in your opinion?
Okay, we have yeah. I've just actually I discussed this with the team on the group, but I'm happy that Winnie has also pointed it out on in the chat. So we shall put S at the end of the R, after R.
I don't get it. What do you mean we shall put S at the end of R?
Winnie, can you make a comment on what you just sent in the chat?
Because in the chat I'm seeing Winnie is wondering. Okay.
It will be
SEIRS
model instead of SIER.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So thanks so much, Miam. I'm happy that we are refining, we are continuously improving. So this is good. So you can stop sharing. This is great. Continue building it up, continue refining. And yeah, I think by the time we even come to the writing retreat, it will be better. And I'm going to create a small meeting in between after 1 week, after tomorrow, after possibly next week, next Thursday. Just touch base and we'll see how the models are looking, and then we progress. So let's have the next team. That is the team for COVID-19 vaccination. Joan, I know your team left
No,
you.
COVID-19 vaccination is Mungao.
Okay. Stephen, he has been on and off. The network has been disturbing him. Not sure we shall get him. Stephen, are you on? He's not on. Stephen is not on. I know he had Douglas. I know he had the Dr. Susan Kiza. I know he had Douglas Vulafu. Okay. Let's have latent TB. Let's have latent TB. Who are the team on latent TB?
Ours was latent TB, and then Joan's was active TB.
Okay. Yeah, because I was remembering Joan was leading something. Joan, can you go ahead?
Okay, Abel, still figuring out how to project because I'm using a phone to log in. I don't know. Or should I send in my slides? You project from that side.
That's okay. You send it right now. Stephen, are you on?
Right. I am, but my network is really poor. Keep hitting me off.
Can you trust somebody to present for you? Joan, you can share them, then I can present.
I'm sharing the mail.
Okay. Joan.
Yes, Abel.
Yeah, it is here. You can proceed.
Yeah. Yes, thanks a lot. Unlike all the other presentations, ours is a bit different, being that we are not handling compartment models. And this is what we've been focusing on for the last 2 days. Our group is looking at prediction of TB cases. So we are looking at active cases prediction for all age groups in Uganda using the long short-term memory network. And those are the group members: Joan Nanteza, Nicholas, Patrick, Trifena, and Henry Sentam. Our research question is, how can the LCTM model predictions be utilized to uncover the trends and patterns in active TB among all age groups in Uganda? And the model looks at to evaluate and assess the performance of LCTM's predictive model against real-time TB data in Uganda. We proceed, Abel. So for the LCTM, the long short-term memory, the model is input in such a way that we have a number of get input, like we have a number of ways of how you input in the data. So we have the input get, we have the forget get, we have the condensed cell, output get, memory cell, hidden state, and all that. So you input the data into the model using R or Python, depending on this, or like that is how the data is input into the model. These are our results. We have the real-time data and prediction from 2020 to 2022. That is the data we are using to train the model, and then for 2023 and so on, that is the data we are using to predict. So as you see this first graph, we are able to show what the real data is for 2023, and then those red dots is what our model is predicting. So the picture comes out clearly on this other graph, the one that has 2023 data. The red dotted lines are representing what our model is predicting, and then the blue is what actually was reported on in real-time TB cases that were reported on. We proceed. So this is what our results are saying. We have the total number of TB cases in Uganda. We are plotted as a function of time, as you see in our graphs. On the x-axis, we have the time, the weeks, because for Uganda, data is captured on a weekly basis and it's sent through DHIS2. Then the LCTM models were successfully trained, and the accuracies and loss values of the models were measured. The model was predicting less TB cases as compared to the actual TB cases that were reported. Then the proposed LCTM network has the capability to predict the TB model. However, from what we had yesterday, as you saw our graph, it's not really accurate, because what is predicting is very different from what is actually coming out. Yes, so the discussion is the study aimed to design accurate forecasting model for TB incidence to serve as the reference for the epidemic prevention and control in Uganda. The model has got last time we are saying the model has got a better predictive capacity. However, from what I've got for the last 2 days, our model is not really, its predictive capacity is lacking. The predictive capacity is lacking. So I'm still figuring out how best to improve the model and which parameters I need to adjust so that it's able to predict accurately the TB cases. We present, yes. So I think we can leave the conclusion for now, because our model is really not so good, according to me, according to what I've got now. Like I really need to fine tune it again. Over to you, Abel.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much,